Junk art. Now, when you change those words around to art junk, it seems kind of contradictory, like opposite poles of a magnet repelling each other more violently the closer they're pushed together. Indeed, some junk art looks just like the tortured remains of a high-speed two-car collision, but other works display grace, precision, beauty, and humor. On a wall hangs a painting of a well-kept country road lined with pecan trees and yellow wildflowers. Attached to the canvas is a Model T made from discards, old thimbles, piano strings, rusted gears, bent paper clips, scratched door hinges, cabinet knobs. Each part is virtually worthless, but in the hands of a craftsman, they have turned this useless odds and ends to an extraordinary piece of art. Apart from Christ, we're spiritual junk, good for practically nothing except littering His creation. But when we let Him take over our lives, He goes to work like a master artisan, straightening our twisted wheels, sanding our coarse-grained characters, mending our broken hearts. At first, our transformation is hardly noticeable, but in time, His artistry begins to glisten. People look and they admire, and some are perplexed about how the change took place. Others clearly see the handiwork of God. But as we might want to take credit for our makeover, deep within, we know that the Lord deserves all the recognition. He has made us useful and attractive. He has molded our worthless lives into priceless works of art. But sometimes we forget our junkyard beginnings. Our pride stands erect and parades our spiritual charms. We act as if God performed some great work on us because we gave Him high-quality material to shape. In other words, we behave just as the Corinthian Christians did. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 26, and going over into chapter 2, verse 5, Paul sets the record straight. He reminds us that if it were not for God's gracious intervention in our lives, we would still be rubbish. I am incapable of understanding why God chose me. Out of His grace, God stoops and He saves the nobodies, the nothings, the junk. And He has chosen the foolish things, the weak things, the base, the despised, and the things that are not. That's what it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 27 through 28. Things that are scarcely worth mentioning, things that are littering the ground, God has been pleased to pick up and enfold in His arms. Pride is one of those things that God has to deal with. We have to leave the pride in the trash bin. He's interested in us, but the pride has to stay in the trash bin. Pride is self-deification. It is that competitive drive within us to be richer, cleverer, better looking, or more powerful than someone else. We like the feeling and the recognition that comes from standing above the rest, and we seek these pleasures in everything we do, including our pursuit of God. No sooner do we believe that God loves us than there's an impulse to believe that He does so not because He's love, but because we are intrinsically lovable. The pagans obeyed this impulse unabashed. A good man was dear to the gods because he was good. We, being better taught, resort to subterfuge. Far be it from us to think that we have virtues for which God could love us, but then how magnificently we have repented. As Bunyan says, describing his first and illusory conversion, I thought there was no man in England that pleased God better than I. Beaten out of this, we next offer our own humility to God's admiration. Surely He'll like that. Or if not that, our clear-sighted and humble recognition that we still lack humility. Thus, depth beneath depth and subtlety within subtlety, there remains some lingering idea of our very own attractiveness. Have you abandoned your pride? and tossed it in the wastebasket and left it behind? Or do you keep picking it out from the rest of the trash to polish and to display?